Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday's edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. It is the day of the first practice of training camp. How jacked are you, baby?
How jacked are you is the question.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm always jacked. Paul Dottino and Matt Citak with you. And we will be here for the next hour to talk New York Giants football. 201-939-4513 from the Giants podcast studio, presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. My goodness, could the weather have been any better?
Beautiful day and not too hot, which we're going to appreciate with the next few days we got coming up.
Did I see 98 coming?
I think I don't know if it was tomorrow or Friday, but one of those days. It's Friday, 90, high 90s. That's not going to be fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, today was nice. Today felt nice.
But they don't go into pads until Monday, so the players will actually be happy that they get the scorching weather on a day when they're still kind of in light clothing and light workout gear.
Today they were just in helmets, and I believe that's
shirts and shorts,
and tomorrow as well. Then they gradually go into shells for 2 days, and then I believe it's Monday we'll get the first full padded practice, which I think that's the one that we're all extremely excited for, because I know at least I have been dying to see those O-line, D-line one-on-one matchups.
How about Shane and Dable?
Well, them more so than me, but me just as a spectator.
Absolutely. 100% agree with you on that. I will tell you, folks, that today we did get a chance to hear from Brian Dable and Joe Shane. The presser, I believe, was already up on the website.
Yes.
And so if you guys want to listen to that, you certainly can. The synopsis is very, very simple. Joe Shane, the general manager, said that he expects Andrew Thomas to be ready by opening day. Yep. So even though he is on the PUP list right now because of rehabbing of his foot, does not appear to be concerned. And so for all those of you yesterday who went into a panic when Thomas showed up on the PUP list, remember, at any time he can be activated off of that list. The thing that the Giants want to do is to make sure that they kind of glide him along easily at the beginning of camp so that once you activate him, you can't put him back on. And so they don't want to deal with any setbacks with him. That's why they're going to ramp him up very, very slowly. But again, to repeat, Joe Shane said no concerns about long-term with Thomas. He believes that he'll be ready opening day against Washington.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't on the show yesterday, but as soon as I saw the news, I knew people would be freaking out. And I saw it on social media, everyone freaking out. Oh, here we go again. As you just mentioned, just because a guy gets put on the PUP list on day one does not mean he's actually missing time. You can go just as far back as last year, where there were two guys placed on the PUP list going into training camp. Aaron Robinson was one of them. He was practicing 1 week later. He was on the PUP list for the first couple of days, and then he was fine. Evan Neal was on the PUP list for like 2 weeks, and then he was practicing and fine. So
I think Theo Johnson was on for a day or two, wasn't he?
I believe so. Yeah.
He came off pretty quick.
You're right. The rookies reported earlier. So it was like day 3 or 4 of training camp. Again, people were freaking out last year, and then day 3 or 4, he gets cleared, and then he's out there. So hearing Joe say we think, obviously things can change. You never know how a rehab is going to go 100%. But the fact that Joe Shane said we think he should be fine for the season opener, that's all you need to hear.
All right.
You should feel confident. Barring any setback, he will be out there against the Commanders, which is the most important thing.
Okay, so that's news item number 1 out of the press conference. News item number 2, as if anybody really needed it, but you figured with all the questions from the press corps badgering both the coach and the GM about Jackson Dart and when's he going to play and what's the deal for his schedule, how's his progress going to look, should there be a competition at quarterback, Brian Dable shut that down with one very simple statement. Russell Wilson's the starter.
Which is the same message that he has been reiterating time and time again for months now, and yet some members of the media continue to still ask him the same exact question.
Does he speak a different language? Seriously.
It's like the media is trying to create a quarterback competition despite the Giants saying straight up, there is no competition. QB1 is Russell Wilson. That's it, period. So hopefully now that Joe and Dabe's straight up said it again, hopefully that will calm those questions down, at least for a little bit so we can just focus on football.
Now, to be fair, Brian Dable was pushed about the rest of the room, and he said everybody's in a competition. So he would not name a number 2. We all believe Winston is the number 2. I think that's logical. But then again, I guess if somebody doesn't paint it on one of the faces of Mount Rushmore, it's not true, right? I mean, that's the way it's become now when you talk about what is written. All right, so that's number 2. Issue number 3. Malik Neighbors, who had been dealing with a toe injury during the spring, did practice in full today. Quite frankly, I would name him as the offensive star of the day. He caught one pass where he had a high point the ball in the end zone, made a terrific grab. He also caught a diving grab at the end of practice. I thought he looked terrific. The fans loved it. Neighbors did say after practice he's still managing a bit of soreness in that toe. Doesn't know where that's all going to wind up, but he certainly looked great today, and he said he felt good in terms of being able to get out there and do what he loves to do.
Yeah, so we'll start with the injury aspect, because we all know he did not do anything during the spring. He was a spectator, as were some of the other star players who were also out there today, like Dexter Lawrence, but he didn't do anything in the spring. Joe and Davis were asked about him before practice, and they said he's good to go. He's going to be out there. He's fully ready. He's prepared. And sure enough, he was out there with the first team offense. Like I at least did not notice him missing any reps with the first team offense.
Nor did I notice any limp. He looked fine.
He looked like his normal self. He looked like the guy that just set the franchise reception record as a rookie less than a year ago.
Sort of 2 catches I just talked about.
Yeah. So I believe it was the second. Was it the first one or the first one? It was the first one where the Giants focused on red zone work today.
Yes. We should tell you that. Red zone work 7-on-7, 11-on-11.
Yeah. Every single offensive snap was taken inside the red zone. Russell Wilson threw a ball where he placed it perfectly right over the defender, where only Malik Neighbors could make a play on the ball. Malik jumped up, made a nice leaping contested grab, pulled it down for a touchdown. I mean, again, Joe and Dave saying that Malik was healthy was all I needed to hear, but then seeing Malik make a play like that left me no doubt that he's fine. He's healthy. Look, and then he said it later, as you just mentioned, this toe injury, whatever it is, it's been something that he has talked about, that he's dealt with since his days at LSU. And his last season at LSU, what were his stats? Insane stats. Last year, set the franchise rookie record, or the reception record as a rookie with 109 grabs, dealing with the same toe injury. So it might be something that he continues to have to deal with in some capacity, but at least for right now, it doesn't seem to be a hindrance at all.
No. So those were kind of like the news items, if you will, that came out of today, unless there was something I missed.
Well, I mean, I just briefly touched on it, but again, Dexter Lawrence, who didn't do anything in the spring, was fully out there. He's good to go.
Yeah,
as well.
the fact that only...
And Cam Scadaboo and Darius Alexander, because they also did not do a lot in the spring.
The fact that only Eric Gray and Andrew Thomas were the 2 guys listed on PUP yesterday, to me, once that list came out, I fully expected the guys you just mentioned to be participating, and they were. So par for the course. Yeah. You got what you expected today, no surprises.
Yeah, I guess just after not seeing them do anything in the spring, it's just good to see them.
Good to clarify, make sure everybody understands those guys did do. In fact, Cam Scadaboo, I want to say they ran 3 pass plays with him and showed soft hands on all 3 plays. One of them was a nice catch. The other 2 were just very easy and routine. But Scadaboo, folks, if you didn't watch him at Arizona State and all you've heard about, especially the way we talk about how ferocious he is as a running back, don't sleep on his ability to catch passes out of the backfield.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of, if not the best, pass-catching running back in all of college football last year. Certainly up there. I mean, he was, the first running back since Christian McCaffrey to have 1,500 rushing yards and 500 receiving yards in a season. And it's easy to see why he was so successful as a pass catcher in college. He has great hands.
Yeah.
And so does Tyrone Tracy, obviously, as a former wide receiver, which makes the 2 of them, obviously they're not, the same exact type of running back, but at least in terms of their ability to catch the football, you can use them interchangeably. it doesn't matter. Both of them are more than capable of catching the football, running routes. I mean, we saw Cam Scadaboo run, several different routes, more than just like your generic running back, screen or, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, Cam Scadaboo has the potential, and Tyrone Tracy both have the potential to play big impacts in the passing game in addition to the running game. I mean, Tyrone Tracy caught a touchdown pass from Russell Wilson today. That one was a kind of an easy screen pass where he was wide open, but nonetheless, he caught it like he was supposed to, got into the end zone for a touchdown. So, yeah, I expect both of those backs to be, pretty big parts of the passing game. We saw it last year with Tracy. I believe he finished 4th on the team in receptions or targets behind the top 3 receivers. I believe he was 4th. And again, that was with him not playing much the first 4 weeks.
Right.
And then kind of splitting a little bit with Devin Singletary after. So, yeah, I expect both of those backs to, play big roles in the passing game.
All right, so let's quickly go through highlighted players today. I've already mentioned Neighbors. I thought he was the star of the day, but you could also make a case for the starting quarterback who on the first snap of 7-on-7s today threw a touchdown pass to Wan'Dale Robinson, a fade in the left corner of the end zone, and that ball was just lollipopped right in there.
Yeah, so that play transpired right in front of me where I was standing on the sideline. It was an amazing throw by Russell Wilson. Again, I don't know how many times over the next 6 weeks we're going to say what a beautifully placed ball by Russell Wilson. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot. But again, he just placed it perfectly, like in between 2 defenders. We're right into Wan'Dale Robinson's arms, who caught it and was able to get both feet down before falling out of bounds for the touchdown. Great throw, great catch. Russell Wilson would probably be my pick for offensive MVP today. I fully get Malik and can't argue with you there, but Russ, I mean, again, I guess we should be expecting it from him because he's been doing this for so long at such a high level, but just to see this, like, I guess this level of a quarterback play in person right in front of you, it's just not something, I've got to see, at least from Giants quarterbacks for several years now. So it was refreshing to see. He commands the huddle. He's clearly the leader, the veteran leader of this team. Obviously there are several leaders, but his voice, everyone listens when he speaks. He has a total control and command of the offense already, despite only being in this offense for a couple of months. He would be my pick for today's offensive MVP. And again, I feel like there's going to be a lot of days where we're going to be saying that.
You know what I think maybe the best way to describe Russell Wilson in terms of his practice habits and what we see from him on snaps, he really raises the floor. Even if he doesn't have what we've come to now know is a typical Russell Wilson day and he's a little bit off, okay, so if he's got 2 or 3 passes that were a little bit off, he never makes you walk away from practice shaking your head saying, wow, he had a bad day. I haven't had that happen yet.
No. I mean, he also just does not often have throws that are just like completely off target, where you're just like, where was he going with that one? Like, he does everything with a purpose. I mean, even there were several plays during 11-on-11 where clearly his first and probably second read were, covered quickly. So he immediately then turned to like the next option in the passing game, which sometimes were, the sort of screen passes to a running back or to a tight end. But that's what you want your quarterback to do. If the first and second reads are not there, you don't want him to hold on to the ball and wait for the defense to converge on him. You want him to get the ball out quickly. And Russell Wilson, obviously, has been doing this for such a long time. He knows pretty much, like, he knows when to get rid of the football. And we saw it a little bit today with 11-on-11. It's like, yeah, there were some passes thrown to the running backs. But again, those were passes where you want him making that instead of holding onto the ball further, hoping that a receiver can maybe get open in another couple of seconds. Because in a real game, you're going to get sacked if you do that most of the time.
And he'd rather take a sack than throw an errant pass.
Yeah.
We know that. That's the way his career has gone, and that's not a problem because interceptions, turnovers, are absolutely the bane of every head coach's existence. And he gets that.
Yeah, and I see a comment here that, Russ was dumping the ball off a lot during 11-on-11s. I mean, again.
Wait a second. They were doing red zone the whole day. Which, by the way, means you can't possibly, by mathematics, throw the ball more than 20 yards, maximum, because you're in the red zone.
And most of the snaps were also inside the 10-yard line, even.
Deep red zone.
Deep red zone, yeah. And again, what issue is there throwing the ball to your running backs when you have Tyrone Tracy and Cam Scatterbo, who are proven good pass catchers?
Okay, see, well, this is why people who come out to watch practice, they even need to listen to the show. So we could explain to them exactly what it is that they saw. All right, defensively, I actually thought that there were three guys who kind of stuck out to me today. Nick Jones had a pick six on a ball he took back the other way. Impressive for him, obviously a guy who's trying to make a name for himself. I thought Tay Banks and Adebo both had really good days in terms of their blanket coverage. They didn't always get their hands on the ball, but they were literally like gum on the receivers' backs almost every time a ball was thrown in their vicinity. And at the very least, it was an incompletion because the coverage was just too good to make the play. So even if they didn't get their hands on it, I thought Banks and Adebo played very well.
Yeah, I mean, especially Banks, in my opinion. I mean, there were several plays during practice where the receiver just made an amazing play and caught a pass like over Deonte Banks. But Deonte Banks had sticky coverage almost every play that I was like looking at him, that he was targeted. Like, yeah, he had some passes again that he got caught, but he had good coverage on just about every single one of those plays. It's just, you got to tip your cap when the quarterback makes an amazing throw and the receiver makes an amazing catch, like leaping over you like Malik did on one of those touchdowns. That was to no fault of Deonte Banks. He had great coverage. It's just the star wide receiver made a star wide receiver play.
Simply put, Banks and Adebo both did a great job of not allowing any separation.
Yes, that was very clear on day one, which is good to see.
It's terrific to see. Especially
because we know this is a big season for Deonte Banks. So for him to get camp started on an encouraging note, that's all you can ask for.
One other really nice grab that I thought was made today, I wanted to mention it, and then I'll let you pick out another play if you had some other secondary play you wanted to mention. And I mean second-level play, not secondary play.
Yeah.
I thought Greg Dulcich made one really nice one-handed stab in heavy traffic over the middle down by the goal line.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many bodies, arms, and hands all over the ball. It was a throw from Jameis Winston. He had a lot of mustard on it. And Dulcich just reached up with that paw and was somehow able to bring it down, despite the fact that it seemed like there was an entire city around him. I don't know how he came down with the ball, but it was a nice play.
Yeah, well, for starters, I don't know how Jameis got the ball to him.
That too.
In all that traffic.
That too.
And then you're right. I don't know. I mean, Dulcich had just amazing concentration to be able to, focus on the ball with all that traffic going on right in front of him, because he had basically almost the entire offensive defensive line in between him and Jameis Winston on that throw.
I know.
And he was still able to, concentrate, make the catch. It would have been like down probably inside the 3-yard line.
It was short of the goal line.
Just short of the goal line, but it would have set the Giants up very, very close to the goal line. That was a great play. I think just that first Russell Wilson to Malik touchdown grab would have to be the play of the day for me, because again, beautiful throw by Russell, where putting it where only his receiver can make the play.
Mm-hmm.
And then Malik Neighbors is doing star wide receiver things. Day one, after not practicing at all during the spring, just leaping up, jumping basically over the defender and making a contested grab for a touchdown. That's got to be the play of the day for me.
I think the problem is we're going to be naming Neighbors as the star of the day or the play of the day practically every day anyway. So I wanted to give Dulcich a chance. He made a really sweet play. I wanted to get him some pop.
That's totally fair.
Folks, as a reminder, Giants season tickets for the 2025 season are available. Fans were out at practice today, and there is a booth near the back corner of the end zone where season tickets can be purchased. If you want to sign up there, you can certainly go as well to the Giants website. Go to giants.com/tickets, and you can get a season ticket membership, which allows you all kinds of benefits, not just on game day, but all season long. And remember, all these things we just talked about, go to the Giants social media. They've got a bunch of the clips of a lot of these plays and even more. They're available. Giants TV is the official connected streaming app for the New York Football Giants. It's free. It's on all of the sites, Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and the Giants mobile app. Go check it out. You don't have to take our word for some of these plays. You'll see them. I guarantee you Michael Becton and the rest of his crew shot those plays, and you know they're going up because they were too sweet not to be seen.
Oh, 100%.
Folks, let's get to your phone calls now that we got those things out of the way. Hopefully some of you want to call us up because you were here today. And if not, that's okay too, because we'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. Let's go to line 1, and I believe it's Coach Marvin who's first up on the show. Hello.
How you doing, Paul?
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm hoping to see you on Sunday.
We will be here.
We'll be here.
Yeah, I'll be there Sunday. What I wanted to talk a little bit about is you were just talking about Russell Wilson. And never I'm going to tell the coaches what they should do and not do. I'm not qualified to do that. But what I would say is what I would have do. I think Jason Dart is in a pretty good position for a young kid. The reason I say that, because the room, it has all types of history in that room. You have Tommy DeVito, who was a undrafted free agent. And he made the team, and he played in some games, coming from being undrafted, which could be a great story to listen to if I'm Jackson Dart. You have Winston, who was the first overall pick, Heisman Trophy winner, and he played some pretty good games, and he played some bad ones. His story is I can learn from his story. And then you're talking about Russell Wilson, who was, I believe, a third-round pick.
I thought he might have been a 4. Was he a 3?
4?
I thought he might have been a 4. But you're right, Coach. He was not a number 1.
Right. So, and he went in, and he beat out, I think it was Flynn he beat out in Seattle at that time, which was paid a
You're
lot
right,
of
Coach.
money
He was a 3, by the way.
play.
Yes, and he did beat out Flynn, who was given a lot of money at the time, off
money.
of one
Yes,
game.
Yes, he was, and he beat him out fairly, and he beat him out fair and square.
Yes, he did.
And there wasn't no controversy or anything like that where, not sure who should be starting. They knew who should be starting, and the team knew that. So all 3 of those guys have a story that he can learn from. And I think what happens with young people today, and I talk to a lot of young people I deal with at the gym, the general manager, Mike, he drives me crazy. Young guy, don't know a lot of the history. And I just told him a couple of days ago, that's what's wrong with young people. You don't want to listen to people that's been here before or seen some of this stuff before. And that's what Jackson Dart has to be. He has to be a person that wants to learn from these guys. And I had a player that was similar to that, and I used to say he was nosy. Every time I was telling one player something, he was standing right next to me, listening what I was telling that player. And then when he wasn't standing next to me, I would see him later talking to the kid that I was talking to after the kid made a mistake. And I found out he was asking the kid, what did I have to tell him? And he was taking all that information and using it. And he became one of my star running backs when he never was one of my star running backs. But he became one because of what he was learning the year before. Yeah. And I used to always say he was so nosy that he got in everybody's conversation when it came to learning the game. And I would say that to Jackson Dart. You got to be nosy. You got to get in everybody's business and learn this game from every angle. And you have 3 guys in that room with you. I would just sit and ask so many questions of them, of their story. And that's even Tommy DeVito.
Coach, you'll be glad to know that from everything we've heard from the coaches and from the players, Dart is very inquisitive. He is a workaholic. He's very much detail-oriented. He's focused. I mean, Russell Wilson mentioned today that in the meeting rooms, he and Dart sit next to each other. And he's become very impressed with Dart because he sees how much this kid is on top of things. So, your point about the 3 guys he can learn from, is all the more enhanced because each one of them have different experiences. It's not just like there's two veterans in the room and they both went through the same thing. No.
Right.
No. In this case, Dart has a full palette of guys who have done different things coming from different angles with different circumstances. Before he even steps on a field, he is getting a whole salad bar of stuff thrown at him.
Yeah, and not only that, but I think it's important that the guys that he does share the room with are willing to help mentor him and show him the ropes. I mean, that might sound like, oh, that should be a given, but you see every year a rookie get thrown into a quarterback room with a veteran that's been there for a while, and the veteran basically says, it's not my job to, show him what to do. He's got to find it his own way. That's not the case here. Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito are more than happy and willing to help Jackson with his development. All of those guys in that room are just committed to help this team win, do whatever it takes to help the team win. And they know having all of the quarterbacks in the room prepared and ready to go and playing at the highest possible level is going to put the Giants in the best possible situation to win week in and week out. So it does help that he's in a room with guys that are willing to help show him along the way.
Coach, I got a bunch of calls and I got a bunch of comments online.
All right, guys.
We'll let you go, okay? We'll talk to you soon.
Sunday.
All right, you got it. Safe
Sunday.
travel.
Yep.
Thanks, Coach. Real quick, I just want to touch on one YouTube comment.
Do it.
About why the team today ran drills on a far field today. First of all, practice each day will take place on a different one of the practice fields.
Yes.
They sort of rotate between the three.
So they don't beat up the field.
Yes, but speaking of, the issue today was there was a little bit of a, let's call it a field malfunction on the field that they were practicing for the first part of practice.
Mm-hmm.
And after one or two guys slipped, they were like, very quickly they said, no, none of this. Let's go to the other field so no one else slips again. So at least for today, that is why about halfway through practice, they switched to the far field further away from the fans. It wasn't to purposely, not let you guys see what was going on.
No,
it was for the safety of the players. So
and that's always coming first because they'll consult with Rob Davis, who is the chief groundskeeper here at the Quest Diagnostics Training Center. Phenomenal. And the fields looked awesome.
Yeah.
But there were some slips going on there. And look, the last thing anybody wants is an injury because of somebody slipping and losing their footing on a field.
Yeah.
You can't blame the coaches for doing that.
Not at all.
All right, real quick, a couple of YouTube comments real fast. We'll go right back to the calls. Christian in Europe says, let Andrew Thomas take his time coming back. Don't need him in training camp getting hurt. You're 100% correct. JMT Production says, just my opinion. If our O-line stays healthy, the sky's the limit. Okay, wait and see, right? We're in a wait and see mode with the O-line. Aiden Fink says, what are your thoughts on signing Quadre Diggs to add to the safety room? Well, the Giants just made... In fact, I'll let you mention this. There was a swap in roster spots with safeties yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday the Giants signed, is it Kayvon or Kavon?
I believe it's Kayvon.
Kayvon Wallace, veteran safety that's been in the league for, I believe, since 2020. He spent a few years with the Eagles, then jumped around to a few different teams. He was here during veteran minicamp on a tryout basis and clearly made a strong impression on the coaching staff and the front office because he was signed yesterday and he took the place of Anthony Johnson, who was waived with an injury designation. So Kayvon Wallace is a veteran safety that's got some, a track record
with Tennessee under Shane Bowen.
Yes, that is one of the teams he jumped around with after his first 3 seasons with the Eagles.
Right.
Look, he's not like the, an all-pro safety, but there aren't all-pro safeties typically available for what, I don't know what the numbers are on his deal, but for reasonable money on July 23rd of the offseason, or right as training camp is beginning. So, yeah, unless, there are more injuries or things change, I would say I don't think adding Quandre Diggs or another veteran proven safety like that is on the table. But as we come to see every year, things change pretty quickly. So you never know. But for now, I would say likely not.
I agree. All right. Also, Aiden Fink says, what's the latest with Eric Gray's injury? He's on PUP as of yesterday with a sore knee, which, again, he may be short. He may be longer. We don't know the details on that. No one did ask about it. We did see Turbo Miller take a bunch of snaps today because, obviously, with Gray not available, there's more snaps for the other guys.
He looked good, too.
He's
I
fast.
know that's your guy. One of your guys.
He's one of my guys.
Getting him in the ball in his hands on the outside in some space.
Turbo Miller's like me. You just take that little switch in the back and you turn it, you turn it, you turn it, and then you just hit the button and let him go. Right? With a lot of energy.
But for you, instead of turning, it's just feeding you a couple of chocolate chip cookies and you're ready to go.
Jan Bogaki, where can I watch training camp? Are there any videos online? Asking, I just mentioned Giants TV. Giants TV is an app where, again, with all the different platforms I mentioned that you can get it. There'll be a bunch of clips there. You can also look at Giants.com. There'll be highlights there. You can go to the Giants Twitter site just right there if that's your most popular place to go. There's a lot of highlights and videos on Twitter, and they're not just even from the team. A lot of folks in the stands take highlights too.
Yeah, at least from our social team. First our production team captures a lot of highlights throughout practice.
Multiple cameras and multiple angles too.
Yes, we got cameramen and all over the field, covering just about every inch of the field possible. And then our social team is very good at getting a lot of those clips up. So it's not going to be, an entire, video of every single play from practice, but you can definitely find plenty of highlights on the Giants Twitter account. I believe later today we should have like a bigger sort of highlight video that will be, 60 seconds plus. There'll be some more plays. So yeah, just, keep checking Giants.com, Giants social media, Giants TV. You should get everything you need there.
All right, back to the phones. Andrew in North Carolina. You're next on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Hello.
Hey, guys.
How are you, Andrew?
Hey, Andrew.
I'm doing good. I had 2 questions, but I wanted to say something first. I'm super excited for Russell Wilson. For Giant fans, if you haven't seen Hard Knocks or any of his interviews, just please check them out. It's like you guys said, he just has a magic aura about him. And even if he loses games, I feel like we're going to win the next 10. I really feel like this is the best offense he's had in a while, and I think he's going to win us a lot of games. I'm really excited for it, guys.
Well, the guy's shown incredible leadership skills, and I believe that the talent level is still there. For anybody who thinks that he's shot or he's over the hill, I think you're sadly mistaken. Russell Wilson has some gas in his tank.
And he seems to be in the mindset of going out there and proving everyone wrong that thinks that he's kind of over the hill. He seems very determined this year to show that, as Paul just mentioned, that he does still have plenty of gas left in the tank. And I'm with you. I cannot wait to see it.
I love it. So one of my first questions was, I do predict him to have success, and I'm penciling in right now. I think we're going to have a winning season. I think we'll make the playoffs, and I'm penciling him in for 30-plus touchdowns already. I'm that sold in on this guy. And just for the scenario hypothetical, if he was to have this good season, how would that end with him on this one-year deal and having Jackson Dart coming up? I don't think Dart will. I don't want to see Dart. I think the only way he plays is if he, like you guys said, if Russell gets hurt, which there is a possibility due to his age, but I don't expect to see him, and I think it's best if we don't. But just that scenario down the road, if I do think Russell has the season that he does, how do you guys think that will play out? And my second question, I don't know if anybody's addressed it, but is there any chance that Odell can come back home? I say my prayers every day. And
Hey, Andrew, surely you jest. Nobody has addressed it. You do? Do you listen to the program? I think we fielded that question a bunch of times in the last month.
Oh, man, I've been late. I haven't been keeping up like I used to, so I apologize.
Okay, that's all right.
There's clearly no shot, but I think Malik Neighbors in the locker room would really love him. I remember going to the games and just the crowd just wanting to see him catch passes. I just felt like it would just be magic and from a business standpoint, bring in tickets. But I've heard it's really no shot.
All right, Andrew, I think the easiest way to say this is that the Giants wide receiver room right now is one that they really want to take a look at. And if you suddenly bring in another veteran, and I'm not even going to say Odell, it could be any veteran. If you bring one of those guys in now, they're taking snaps away from this wide receiver room, and they're trying to figure out, is Jalen Hyatt going to be the real thing or not? You're going to take snaps away from him? No, that makes no sense. You're not going to take snaps away from the first 3 guys on your depth chart because they need to work with these quarterbacks. And you're not going to take snaps away from the undrafted rookie free agents because it looks like they got a pretty good class of those guys. You need to find out what they are. So it doesn't make sense to add to the room, at least not to me.
Yeah, all I'll add is, we spoke during OTAs, the offseason workout program, how a lot of those undrafted rookie free agent receivers looked good. Mm-hmm. And again, it's OTAs. There's no contact. Well, now is the real test to see if that was like an outlier performance or if these guys are the real deal. So what I'll say is Joe Shane has shown over the last few years that he will do whatever it takes to help this team improve and get better. If he thinks, in a week, 2 weeks, a month, if he thinks that the wide receiver room isn't looking like the way they want it to look, I'm sure he will then look to address it. But until that time comes, it seems like they are pretty content with the group that's currently here.
They got to identify exactly what they have in all of these guys. Andrew, thanks for the call.
Thank you.
201-939-4513.
Well, then the other thing he asked about with if Russell has a great year.
Oh, okay.
All I'll say is this.
That hypothetical again.
Yes, that hypothetical again. All I will say is this. Now, I'm not by any means saying that Jackson Dart is the next Patrick Mahomes. Not saying that, but just similar situations where the Chiefs drafted Patrick Mahomes in the first round of 2017, where they had Alex Smith, a veteran quarterback. Mm-hmm. Alex Smith in 2017, in 15 games, 15 of 16, when Mahomes started the last game of the season, he led the Chiefs to a 9-6 record. He had over 4,000 yards, 67.5% completion percentage, 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He had the lowest interception percentage in the league, the highest passer rating in the league. And the Chiefs still moved on to Patrick Mahomes after that season. So you never know what could happen. Obviously, Jackson Dart's development will be the biggest determining factor in that question. But it would take, I would think, Russell Wilson having such an outstanding year and Jackson behind the scenes looking, so poorly for that to probably be a realistic option. Because let's not forget, they signed Jameis Winston to a 2-year deal.
They did.
It's not just a 1-year deal, 2 years. So there's a decent chance that he will be back next year, maybe as the veteran backup to Jackson Dart. I don't know. Obviously, there's a lot to determine in that decision over the next 6+ months.
I mean, I almost hate to address the question, but you did ask it in good faith. So here's what I would say. It's a long shot, I think. It's a very small percentage in terms of all the possibilities as to how this plays out. But think about this. The most likely scenario for Wilson to stay, and Matt's right, Dart, in the coaches' minds, has to not be close to being ready by the end of the season. That's first. Second thing, Wilson's going to have to play really, really well, and maybe the Giants even need to be a playoff team for them to reluctantly allow Wilson to go. But think about this. Wilson's on a 1-year deal. He's a bargain right now, economically. If Wilson has the kind of year we're speaking of, don't you think he's going to want some more cash?
100%.
And I don't know that the Giants are going to want to pony that cash up.
Well, not only that, but as so many people around the NFL talk about every year, when you draft a quarterback to be what you hope to be your franchise quarterback moving forward, you want to take advantage of that window where he's under a rookie contract. But
if he's not ready, he's not ready.
No, for sure.
That part's irrelevant then.
Yes and no. Because, if he's not ready, then that is the most important thing. But at the same time, rookie quarterbacks, they have 4 years plus the 5th-year option. But even that 5th-year option, that number jumps up pretty significantly from the first 4 years. That's a small window to build what you hope to be a Super Bowl contender around that rookie contract before. Obviously you hope that rookie quarterback plays to a level where you want to give him that massive contract because that means good things, obviously. But that makes it a little harder to build the team around him when you start paying a quarterback, $50+ million as opposed to the rookie deal.
Now, you folks will remember, I've said on this show many times before they drafted Dart, that when they went after Wilson, my thought was you sign him, you got him to the 1-year deal, and if he plays really well, and if you don't take the next franchise guy this year, there's always a chance you bring Wilson back.
For sure.
That was in play, I think, before they traded up to get into the first round to take Jackson Dart. Now I think the odds of Wilson being able to come back, I don't know that puzzle piece fits very well. So I think it's very unlikely. But again, if you're Russell Wilson and you're on a 1-year deal and you're trying to prove to the world that you still have gas and you show that you do, you're going to want to get paid, and somebody out there probably is going to wind up writing a check.
100%. So we'll leave it as you never know what could happen.
Right.
But it seems like the Giants had a plan at the quarterback position, and I would be a little surprised. But again, crazier things have happened. So
Connor from Connecticut, you're next on the program. Hello.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Very well. How are
Connor,
you?
how are you?
I'm all right, but I'm a little frustrated with this team right now and the shape of the O-line going into this season. I think it's the same as last year, and I don't know what changes have been made that are going to make our team look different.
Well, Carmen Brasillo is in his second year as the offensive line coach. If you believe that the same 5 will start this year that did last year, I refer you to the show we did the other day when the Giants had those 5 offensive linemen intact. They had a 2-3 record, and the offensive line was not the reason that they had lost those 3 games. Well, the one game against Minnesota, yes, they just got hammered. But in the other 4 games, they were as competitive as can be. So I offer that to you to chew on, but more importantly, I offer you Carmen Brasillo. I have tremendous respect for him, and I believe he's the best offensive line coach the Giants have had since Pat Flaherty. And I think you got to give him a little more credit and show a little more faith to him that given this class of offensive linemen for a second season, he can do some things with them.
Yeah, that I think is the biggest thing. The last point you made. Everyone talks all the time about continuity on the offensive line, and we were saying it last season in terms of from week to week. Well, it's just as important year to year. This is now year 2 of at least going into the season the same starting 5 that you had last year, with the same offensive line coach for the second straight season as well. Continuity is so important up front, which is why, again, we've said it countless times that Andrew Thomas is the linchpin to that unit. Him being healthy and out there is the most important factor to that unit's success, obviously. He's an all-pro.
That sounds beautiful. I hope it works out, but when you take the same players with the injury history that they've had, I don't see why it would be different.
But they also went and addressed the depth. That is where the changes were made in the offseason. Mm-hmm. They addressed the depth on the offensive line.
Guys coming, and you want your first guy up to be healthy all season long.
Sure.
Of course. But as every single person that spoke to the media today said, injuries happen. You can't control that.
Look,
I blame that on the turf. I blame that on the MetLife turf, man.
All right, Connor, appreciate the call. Thank you. I'm going to add this too. Again, he's the wild card here. Evan Neal. Today he took snaps at both guard spots. He's the wild card. If Evan Neal goes out on the field and plays like a first-round pick, albeit in a different position, the Giants are a better team for it.
For sure. Also, JMS going into year 3. Year 3 is a year that a lot of time offensive linemen make a jump. And again, I've said this so many times before, but JMS did take a step in the right direction last season. Maybe not as big of a step as everyone would have hoped, but he did improve. So if he can now make an even larger jump in year 3, that is going to be a huge boost to the interior offensive line, where he's going to have at least one veteran, if not 2 veterans, maybe Runyon and Neal, Runyon and Van Roden, whatever the combination of guards are, him playing at an improved level in the center, commanding the whole unit, that will help that offensive line take a big jump overall as well.
Okay. We go to line 3. Charlie's in Portland, Maine. And Charlie, which inaccurate opinion that you saw online today would you like to base your comments on? Because you certainly love to do that.
I think I know where he's going to go.
Oh, I think I know too.
All right. I just want to, this is what Joe Shane said about Andrew Thomas. Good. I'll say again. should be ready for the opener. That is what they anticipate. That is the weakest statement that you could ever say about somebody who is injured and it's only the first day of camp. That isn't like guaranteed. Like, I mean, the way you guys talk, he's a go.
Charlie,
no problem. He's starting week
taxes
one. No,
are
he's not.
guaranteed. We are all going to leave this earth at one time. That is guaranteed. Nothing else is guaranteed.
But you made it sound like he's ready to go. He's not. We don't know if he's going to even play.
They expect him to be.
We said what Joe Shane said, is that they think he should be ready. Obviously, Joe Shane himself said there could obviously be a setback. Things could change. But as of now, the expectation is he will be ready for week 1.
Yeah.
That's all. That's the information we have to go off of, Charlie. What else should we go off of?
He said look, all I'm saying is this guy is not a lock to start week 1. That's all I'm saying. And I just want to say one other thing that I have a little problem with. Matt, you did it. John did it too. You guys tell us who throws the touchdown pass and who catches it. You know, like Wilson threw a touchdown pass to Robinson. But when someone throws an interception, you never tell us who threw the interception. You said that Jones had a pick 6. Matt, you didn't tell us who threw that ball. And John didn't tell us who threw that ball. Why don't you tell us who throws the interception?
I'll tell you. It was Dart.
Yeah, you can tell me now. I found that out through the beat writers. But, Matt, you never mentioned it, and John never mentioned it. Why don't you
John's not
that?
here.
I know, Matt. I'm asking you. Why didn't you tell us who threw the interception?
We were discussing what happened at practice today. You asked a question. We answered it honestly. What more do you want from us? We're not ducking the question. You asked, we tell you.
I'm asking Matt, Paul. He did a little thing on Twitter, and he gave us a little breakdown, and he told us who threw the touchdown, but he never told us who threw the interception. Why, Matt, didn't you tell us?
First of all,
that Dot threw that
Charlie,
interception?
you made your comment knowing very well who threw it because it was all over Twitter.
Why did you say it?
Why do you need me to say it?
Because you're the BBK. You're the mouthpiece of the New York Giants.
I am the mouthpiece of the New York Giants. That's
all I want to know.
News to me.
Why don't you tell us who throws interceptions? If you're going to tell us who throws the touchdown, you should tell us who throws the interception. That's all I'm saying. It's very simple. I don't know why you guys don't do that. Is it a mandate from
Charlie,
I
I don't want to speak on behalf of team policy because that's not my place. I will simply tell you, you call up here on the program. If you have a question, we will answer it. If we cannot answer it, we will tell you we cannot answer it because it's privileged information and we're not allowed to.
You already told me.
I couldn't be more honest with you, Charlie. You asked. I told you. What? I don't understand. I didn't hide anything.
I understand. No, you didn't, Paul. But John didn't mention it, and neither did Matt. And that is, if you don't tell me then who throws the touchdown pass, just tell me who catches it. Because if you're not going to tell me who threw the interception, I don't want to hear about it.
But then you're going to comment on my tweet saying, "Well, who threw the touchdown?"
No, I'm not. Because if I know that you're going to do that, then that's a fair
All right,
call.
Charlie. Anything else?
No, that's it. Matt, tell us who throws interceptions from now on.
All right, be good, Charlie. Take care.
Thank you, Charlie.
Maybe if Charlie wants to make a couple of trips down from Maine, he'll be able to see for himself. But then again, he won't have the pleasure of reading all the stuff that's out there online, which he obviously takes great pleasure in doing.
Seriously.
Oh, my. Again, folks, we have a policy here. I know I've always had a policy, and I believe all of us do, whoever sits at this table. We will answer every question honestly with you, and if we can't answer you, we tell you. Privileged information is not something that we can answer. Either stuff that's coming from inside the building upstairs, embargoed information that the team is going to have a press release on. Well, then it comes out when the release comes out. We've never hid that from anybody. And furthermore, Charlie, again, we've actually taken your phone calls for many, many years, and we have answered everything that we can answer for you. We've never ducked you here on this program. So I don't think you need to get upset about it. Line 2, Charles in Maryland, you're next on the show.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Long-time listener and first-time caller.
Well, very kind of you to dial us up.
Thank you for calling us in.
I know you had to follow him. I mean, what a shame.
Hopefully going from Charlie to Charles is a little bit of a transition.
Please, help us out here. Be nice.
No, I did want to be nice, and I really wanted to give you guys a sincere phone call and thank you for everything that you guys do from the Giants fan perspective. And I want to give you a little anecdote. When I went to Marine Corps boot camp, and you're there for technically 3 months.
Did you serve, sir?
Yes, sir, 20 years.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that. I always say that to all of our military people. I had family in the military, and I have great, great, great respect. So thank you.
Thank you. And they teach you something at boot camp that most people never forget, because you're not supposed to think of all 3 months. Otherwise, you'll go crazy. So they have a saying. It's called Sunday to Sunday, chow to chow. Every day, just focus on getting to the next meal. And then at lunch, focus on getting to dinner. And then dinner, focus on getting to breakfast the next morning. And then Sundays are great because it's a little bit more lax and you get to go to church. So that was the saying for 3 months. Don't think about 12 weeks, 11 weeks, 10 weeks. Think about Sunday to Sunday, chow to chow. And that is how I've always viewed Big Blue Kickoff Live. You get us through off season. You get us through the OTAs, the combine, training camps, and you just keep us going instead of just going, oh, well, here's the Super Bowl. Now we got to wait till preseason. No, we've got Big Blue Kickoff Live to help us get there and keep us informed of what's going through the Giants organization. And as a huge, huge Giants fan, I just sincerely want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart and all the Giants fans out there.
Well, that is an awfully nice thing to say. We appreciate that. I never thought of us as a first aid ointment for military camp bruises and bumps and wounds. But if you want to equate it that way, we certainly do appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you, Charles. That really does mean a lot.
Absolutely.
Anything else we can do for you today? Oh, he's gone. Charles, again, thank you for the call, and please do call again. And if you don't get out to training camp, again, watch all the stuff. We have other stuff online, too. In fact, I need to remind folks, the Giants Huddle is constantly up there, just full of all kinds of interviews that John's doing with NFL and Giants personnel. Is there something that went up today?
Yes. Today was the safeties.
Okay.
John sat down with Tyler Nubin, Javon Holland, and Dane Belton.
And you know what? If you haven't listened to Javon Holland, do it. He is a very astute fella, and with his experience in this league, he's bringing a lot of leadership to that room.
Yeah, I think he will help tremendously with the growth of those other two young safeties on the podcast with John, in Tyler Nubin and Dane Belton. Although, is it fair to still call Dane Belton young? He's now going into year 4.
He's a young veteran.
He's still on his rookie contract.
So young veteran.
Yeah, young veteran is a good way to put
that's
it.
the way I go with first contracts. They're young veterans. When they get to the second contract, they're just veterans.
Yes.
Okay? We eliminate that first adjective. 201-939-4513. Only a couple of minutes left on the program. If you haven't called us and you want to sneak one in there, just like Charles just did, we'd be glad to take it real quick. Again, practice tomorrow. Now, if you have your tickets, we understand the weather's supposed to be terrific again. It's going to be hot. There are canopies over the aluminum bleachers out here at the field. So the good news is you don't necessarily get scorched by the sun, and they do have water stations right behind the bleachers. Folks, nobody wants to see anybody in jeopardy or in an emergency situation, so please do hydrate. Coach Coughlin would always scream at his players before a game, hydrate, hydrate. He sometimes would pass out Gatorade bottles at the lockers before the games himself. Don't be afraid to do that, because the one thing you need to do under these hot conditions is make sure you drink. Make sure you drink water. Get as much of it as you can. We have watering stations out behind the bleachers all around the practice fields. And please do partake if you're going to come out. But the good news is there are canopies over the bleachers. So, again, you don't worry about getting sun-drenched. You just worry about the heat.
Yeah, which, as we said, it's supposed to get real hot these next couple of days.
Yeah. All right. We go up to line 1, and it looks like we have Mike from Indiana. You're next on the program. Hello.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Andrew. How you guys doing this day?
Hi. Good to talk to you.
What's up, Mike?
Yeah. So something that has really strung my curiosity this year, compared to previous years, and looking at some of the other historic runs in the history of the last 40, 50 years of the Giants, the depth that we have on this roster this year. It kind of seems like you all have mentioned it before, we actually have players that might get picked up off waivers, once training camp and the final 53 is released and all that. I'm real excited about the depth that we have, and it almost feels like, barring, the offensive line, we got to get 5 guys out there gelling together, working together, and Andrew Thomas being the anchor point of that. But it almost seems like all throughout the roster, as far as depth goes, our ones and twos or our twos and threes are what our ones and twos were last year, and we've made progress and we've stepped up, we've made the right roster moves this year. It just seems like it kind of reminds me of 2016, the depth that we had back then whenever we had a great run with McAdoo and just the gel of the team. It's got me real excited about this depth, but what do you think as far as is there one more piece or 2 or 3 more pieces that we might need depth on? At what position? What are we looking at? Other than the offensive line having 14 guys on the roster right now, trying to get that down to 9 to 10.
Yeah, a lot of numbers there
somehow.
Yeah, I honestly had been talking all season about maybe bringing in a veteran corner. I had been talking about that for a while. Now, I think the coaches really want to look at the guys they have now. They want to push Banks. They want to see if they can get Flott to take another step from where he was. And again, that's kind of a way to push Banks. I'm going to say this, Matt. Behind Phillips, I don't know right now who the backup slot would be. I would hate to see them put Flott back there out of necessity, like when he first came into the league, because that's not a good position for him.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. If there is one position that I would add maybe one more body between now and the start of the season, I guess it would be bringing in a veteran corner to help with that room. Again, we like the top of the depth chart, but as we mentioned, injuries happen every single year. So it's good to have proven guys ready to step up if called upon. So that would probably be the number one position for me. I don't think it's, a screaming, blaring need, but it never hurts to have more depth. And now, prior to yesterday, I maybe would have said safety as well, but that 4th safety on the roster. But I think there's a decent chance that Wallace, who was signed yesterday, could earn that spot. Again, he's a proven veteran in this league. The only other position that I would, I guess, maybe consider would be tight end. Because obviously I'm very encouraged by Theo Johnson, but it just behind him, there's going to be good competition between, Manhertz, Bellinger, Dulcich, Fedoni, but I wouldn't mind potentially bringing in one more guy that can both block and catch the ball to at least just compete. I'm not saying it's got to be someone that is going to be brought in to guarantee a roster spot too.
See, it's going to be hard
just
because
to increase the competition a little bit.
If you do ask a vet to come in at that spot, he's going to say, look, your tight end room's already pretty full of pretty good guys. He's probably not going to want to come here.
But after Theo Johnson, everything else seems to be up for competition right now. The number 2 and number 3.
Though.
It is a good competition. But, Chris Manhertz, for example, he's he is the team's best blocking tight end.
Yes.
Blocking,
but in terms of his pass catching ability, where would he rank between the crew?
He'd be the last
further
guy.
down.
He'd be the last
guy. So you look at some of the other guys. I mean, Fedoni, we haven't really seen him do much yet, so it's unfair to put him in the conversation. But, Daniel Bellinger, after that, promising first half of his rookie season hasn't quite taken the next step that, we would have hoped he would have taken by now going into year 4. So again, that's me kind of reaching as my third position that I would maybe consider bringing someone in just for competition. But really, if there were any position, it would be cornerback.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for the call.
That's a pretty good tell for how the state of the roster is in right now. So thank you guys. I hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Appreciate it. Thanks for getting in. Just before we sign off, I'm going to go real quick to our final question that came in online through the YouTube programming network, because, folks, we do stream both on Giants.com, the app, and also on the YouTube channel.
Yep.
That's been something we kind of brought in some months ago. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And it's gone very well. Terry A. says Tyler Nubin had a ball hawk reputation coming out of college. That, of course, with the Minnesota Gophers. With Javon Holland now in the mix, how do you see Nubin getting back to that playmaking form this season? Well, to be honest with you, Holland has only one interception in his career, despite the fact that he makes a lot of plays. What people have told me in Miami is that he'll make impactful plays. They may not be highlight plays that you'll see at the end of the night on highlight reels. In other words, turnover plays, forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, interceptions. You may not see those, but he may be the guy who fills a hole on a 3rd and 1, comes in on a safety blitz, and makes the tackle to prevent the first down. It turns out to be a big play in the game, but it's not a highlight play that you're going to see on SportsCenter. So that's what people tell me about Holland. He'll make impactful plays, but they may not be statistical plays. There won't be stats to identify those plays. So I see no reason why, with Holland back there, the veteran that he is and helping to set the defense, that Nubin maybe, has an opportunity to make some more interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of how Holland directly could impact Nubin's, interception total this year, you mentioned it. I think Holland obviously has shown the ability throughout his NFL career to play at the line of scrimmage, which Tyler Nubin was asked to do sometimes last year. Mm-hmm. If he's given the ability to more, serve in the secondary and just sort of be that ball hawk waiting for the quarterback to throw a slightly errant pass, that's obviously going to lead to more opportunities for him to create turnovers or takeaways. And not only that, but potentially more of an impact on Tyler Nubin's interceptions than Javon Holland, I would say, would be the pass rush.
Yeah.
The pass rush is again,
very true.
We haven't spoken about the pass rush at all today, so that's why I feel like at the very end I got to squeeze it in.
We could go one day without it.
I don't know if we can. But the ability,
we'll talk about it on Monday when pants come on.
Oh, for sure. But the ability that we think this, especially the starting front four, is going to have in being able to get after the quarterback, pressure the quarterback, force the quarterback to make mistakes and errant throws, that's going to lead to more takeaway opportunities for Tyler Nubin, for Paulson Adebo, Holland, all the cornerbacks, everyone, even the linebackers. There's going to be more takeover potential, obviously, if the pass rush at the front is able to get the quarterback constantly under duress, which, as Dexter Lawrence said today, the defense and the pass rush has not done anything yet. Everyone's crowning, we've both said it too, that this pass rush has the potential to be elite. Mm-hmm. Well, Dexter Lawrence made it very clear today that unit has not done anything yet. They've done diddly squat so far.
He said he's challenging them.
And he challenged them. He's like, we treat every single day as if it's the Super Bowl coming up. So I'm just excited to see what that front can do and how it's going to help impact in a positive way the entire defense, all three levels.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. You can get an archive of this show on the Giants mobile app, podcast platforms everywhere, and at giants.com/podcasts. From the Giants Podcast Studio, presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. He's Matt Citak. I'm Paul Dottino. We'll see you next time.